from the U.S. and streaming all over the world. This is Shotgun Sports USA. Get accurate, reliable information in every single episode. With interviews from the best shooters in the game, the best gun clubs across the globe, and industry-leading companies that revolutionize the sport. Find us online at shotgunsportsusa.com. Shotgun Sports USA is driven by Beretta, the #1 choice of champions. Also brought to you by Cole Gunsmithing, Rick Hemingway's Chromatic Trap Sales, Castellani USA and Ultimate Shooting Accessories, Soundgear Phantom, Clay Target Vision, and Clay Shooter Supply. Welcome to the show. Better with Beretta. Pro tips from the #1 choice of champions.
Hi, I'm Desiree Edmonds, professional sporting clay shooter with Team Beretta. One of my favorite Beretta memories. 2017, we were shooting the World FITASC in Hungary, and Beretta was one of the title sponsors for that World FITASC, and they set up a Beretta layout. Epic. I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. There were these giant Russian comm towers, okay, huge towers up there. And they put these huge, it was when we were advertising for the blackout editions on all of our premium guns and the 690 series. And they did these huge posters on these Russian comm towers. So just the aesthetics of it looked really cool. It was kind of intimidating, and they put traps on the tops of these Russian comm towers. The targets were absolutely insane. Coolest FITASC layout I've ever shot in my life, bar none. Unforgettable. Great targets, huge, giant tower shots, long. I mean, we're talking, I think one of them was maybe 80 yards, like an 80-yard crosser off there. And I was shooting with a good buddy of ours who lives in Hungary. His name's Andras. And I was following him on that round, standing behind him, watching him shoot that. He shot a 25 straight on that Beretta layout. And just in my mind, I'll never forget those posters, those targets. That was probably one of my coolest Beretta moments. I'm very proud to be a Beretta shooter and represent the company because they did a big one there.
My guest today has grown up around this sport. He started shooting at an early age and figured out quickly that this is something he always wanted to be involved with. He was on the Junior PSCA tour, on the Super Squad last year at Nationals, and now trying his hand in helice. Find out all about him, his family, his career path, and his thoughts on the sport. Please welcome to the show, Clay Robertson. Clay, welcome to the show.
How are you?
Good. This is a first for you.
Yeah, it is.
But I'm sure that you will have a lot to talk about, considering the family you grew up in.
Oh yeah, no, it's been a great experience growing up with under my dad and stuff.
Oh yeah,
I'm blessed to have it.
So we all know your name. Tell us where you're from, what you do, and how old you are.
I'm from Dallas, Texas originally. I'm 22, and currently I'm in gunsmithing school at Murray State College.
You don't hear that a lot. Murray State College and gunsmithing school. So tell me a little bit about that.
I kind of fell into Murray State by accident. I decided on gunsmithing as a career choice, mainly so that I could, when I was looking at what I wanted to do, I wanted to find something that would ensure me to be able to, continue the lifestyle I'm living now, which is shooting and guns and hunting, and it's the best thing I could come up with. And so right before I was looking at schools, I was looking at Trinidad, and Trinidad is a pretty good school if you like bolt action rifles and 1911s, but we ran into somebody and found out Murray State is only an hour from our ranch here in Oklahoma. So it's a good experience, and I really enjoy it.
So what does that consist of, gunsmithing school? I know there's not a lot of people out there anymore, I don't think, that are into gunsmithing. There's some, but not a lot. And they're mostly old folks, if I'm recalling correctly. I don't see about a bunch of young people doing this. Is that right?
Yeah, not at all. Even so, to that point, a lot of the young kids still going into a Bass Pro or a Shield and being a quote unquote gunsmith, but as far as that entails, is you're mounting scopes and bore sighting and the basic stuff. That people don't realize the kind of money that can be made in fine guns and shotguns. That's obviously the avenue that I'm looking at taking.
So talk about that for a second, because if anybody's young listening to this, how would they get involved with gunsmithing, kind of like what you're doing?
Anybody listening to this is probably a sporting clay shooter or a clay target shooter in general, and would be pleased to hear that we actually have a shooting team. I've captained the shooting team for the past 2 years, and I'm going to be going back here in the fall to receive my bachelor's degree in custom gun making, which is going to be pretty awesome. But when it comes to the gunsmithing courses, we pretty much go over firearms repair, and then we have shotgun smithing, pistol smithing, rifle smithing. You can take classes on reloading, advanced reloading. Bench metal. Bench metal consists of learning how to TIG weld, learning the different types of alloys, metals. What guns are made out of, what's the best metals to make guns with. We go into stock making, so you build with our barreled action that we build. My class, we got to do Park West Dakota 76s, and then you go into stock making after rifle smithing. You build a wood stock, a traditional American style wood stock for that barreled action. So that was probably my favorite class, to be honest. The woodworking was interesting, learning about the different types of woods, especially being in shotgunning. Our wood is very important to us. So that was definitely interesting to learn a lot more about that process and how that goes down. But and then you go into pistol smithing. I just finished up building a custom 1911 for pistol smithing. And then repair, we go into repair too, which is definitely very interesting. Just you go very in depth on a lot of different types of guns, a lot of shotguns, and learn how they work, normal issues that happen with those specific guns, and how to fix those. And so that was something I was interested in as well.
So if someone don't know anything about this stuff, can you learn it from knowing nothing, or do you need to know something about it?
I would say that you need basic knowledge. I was, I'm fortunate that this is my life, and I shoot guns every day. Right before this, I was on the helice range practicing. It's a daily thing for me, and I'm always consumed by it. So it was a little bit easier for me. But there were a lot of kids in my class that they become interested in guns because they played Call of Duty. And that's not really the background you need. A couple of them were able to pull it together and figure it out, but a lot of them, they really struggled because gunsmithing is a lot harder than you would think. It's not as easy as putting guns together. There's a lot of tools. There's a lot of issues. Everything about a gun works together. They're all timed together, especially 1911. Everything has to work in sync, and it takes a steady hand, I guess you could say.
Yeah, if you really think about it, all the moving parts inside of a gun that have to work perfectly for it to work perfectly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Especially on these shotguns, like a Krieghoff. You've never seen something more complicated than a Krieghoff. It's like a Swiss watch, and I've heard that from some really, Norbert was so kind enough. I was a couple weeks ago. I was in Houston shooting or Marble Falls shooting, and I was really struggling with my 1911, kind of getting into crunch time on due dates, and Norbert was there and was just so kind enough to give me some pointers. And to be honest with you, I learned more from him in 10 minutes of talking to him than I have my entire career at school. The school's amazing, and you're going to learn everything you need, but you're never going to learn it all. Like you said, the gunsmithing's a dying breed, and the best of the best are getting old. And if you want that first class knowledge that those guys have, that's how you're going to have to get it.
Now, does Murray State, you have a shooting team. Do they have any sort of scholarships?
We have a lot of scholarship money, actually, and we're currently looking to give it away. So we are we're working really closely with Robbie and Sean Doolahary are working really closely with us to push recruiting and help get the word out that we have this scholarship money.
So what does that entail? How does someone take advantage of this?
The best thing to do would be to reach out. We are starting to get to a point where we need to, hold tryouts and really find competitive shooters if we want to be competitive. We did struggle the past 2 years just because it was new to everybody. A lot of kids on our shooting team, it was the first time that they have been on a trap or a ski or a sporting clays range. So, but it was also a great experience getting to teach those kids, and so that's always something that I look forward to. But we do want to be competitive, and the best way to become a part of the Murray State team is to reach out to me, or my dad is head coaching now. He's going to head coach the shooting team, and reach out to him if you can get in contact with him.
I'm surprised Scott's got time to do anything like that.
He doesn't, but he enjoys it.
So you've been around this sport probably since the time you could walk, maybe before that, I'm sure. What's your earliest memory that is related to clay shooting?
I got a lot of them. I would probably say my most favorite memory, because I still do it, is when I was real. I've always been a bike kid. I grew up racing motocross. Motocross is actually my dream. If it wasn't for the fact that my dad was scared to death of injuries, I would probably be bent up in a hospital or somewhere. But I used to ride my bike all over the National Shooting Complex when I was little, and every year they would take my bike away. So I would go, I don't remember currently. I think they fixed them, but all those trees in front of Vendors Row, the roots would bust up through the asphalt and create like little ramps in the asphalt, and I would just go as fast as I could on my bike down Vendors Row and try to jump these cracks in the asphalt. And every year they would confiscate my bike until the end of the shoot, and I'd just be so mad.
How long ago was that?
I had to been six or seven. I shot my first competition when I was 7 years old. So before then, yeah.
Wow. What is your most memorable moment so far as a shooter?
Probably the 2017 PSCA final at Big Cedar Lodge, which in my opinion was one of the greatest shoots I've been to ever. Just the atmosphere, that it was so prestigious. It was special, right? We're the only ones there for one purpose, was to shoot for the PSCA, and then to go over to the Big Cedar Lodge, the golf course, and how beautiful. It was just a special opportunity. But I got to I qualified top 16 in the open category there at the final PSCA ever, actually.
Now, where's Big Cedar Lodge?
It's in Branson, Missouri.
Okay, I was at that one. Yeah, everybody there was shooting just PSCA, and
it was awesome.
Yeah, that was a really fun weekend there shooting that. And that's, that brings me to ask you this question. Being on the Junior PSCA and doing fairly well, how important was the PSCA to a youth shooter, and what did it do to increase their involvement in the sport?
Well, for me, the PSCA was honestly everything I dreamed of. I grew up obviously in the industry, and looking up to my dad, I always understood that there was pro shooters, or that you could be a pro shooter, but it wasn't really until the PSCA came along that it was like a reality. everybody could call themselves a pro shooter, but who really were the pros? Right. And the PSCA really set that apart. And I think, I listened to my dad's podcast with you. I actually listened to it a couple times because there was some information in there that I had never heard either.
Yeah.
But, and he talked about making heroes. And I think that really brought people in because it gave that prestigious element to the sport. And to this day, I think we're missing that.
That was I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like Scott said it perfect. Heroes. You created heroes. I mean, there was, you saw these people on TV and you saw them on social media and YouTube, and then you get to see them at the shoot, and they're like, wow, that's that guy that I saw on TV. That was the step in creating, I guess, characters, so to speak, for our sport that people could look up to. And then all of a sudden it's gone, which, I wish it was back, but maybe one day we'll get it back. And you keep talking about your dad. Your dad, for those listening, if you don't know, is Scott Robertson, and just a legend in the sport. He's been around since it's began and has been very influential and on a lot that's happened, I guess, in the sport. He owns gun clubs. What, Elm Fork? Is that what it is?
Yes, sir. Elm Fork, yeah.
Yeah, hosted the PSCA. He's a Team USA member several times. Same with All-American, winning nearly everything you can win, I think. But growing up around him and as his son, considering his involvement in sporting clays, how much influence did that have on you being who you are today?
It's everything. I mean, I hear it all the time. Me and my dad are like the same person.
Yeah.
I actually had somebody recently at a flyer shoot. They took a picture of me and my dad leaning on a fence because we looked exactly the same from the backside, and we're just the way we were standing. But just when I was a little younger, I kind of took advantage of it, not in the sense of what he could offer, but I wasn't interested in it like I am today. When you're around something all the time, you just kind of like overlook it. I looked forward to going to shooting tournaments more to like see friends and ride my bike and get to travel in the RV everywhere and get to skip school. It was more in that sense than it was going to the tournament for the purpose of shooting. It was more of a vacation to me growing up, and then really what really brought me into it fully was the PSCA.
You shot your first competition when you were 7, is what you said. And how old were you when you started PSCA? Early teenager?
12 or 13. I actually, me and Halen Hanks, love her to death. We shot at Lawrence Berry's in, I can't remember the year, but we were 11 to 13, whatever that first year would have been. I think I was 12 and she was 11. And we shot on our first squad together.
How did that go?
We didn't do very good. We shot, I think at the time it was still out of 120. I think he actually beat me. I think I shot like a 30 and she shot like a 36. I mean, it was that hard. And I was still a little kid, but I was better than 50% on the regular sporting clays course.
Right.
And to shoot a 30 was pretty tough.
I remember we were talking about Branson, Missouri a minute ago. Your younger brother, what's his name? Owen,
yeah.
I remember watching him. How old is he now?
He is 19 now, yeah.
Okay, so he was little. I mean, that was several years ago. And I remember watching him going, man, this kid can shoot right here. Is he still shooting at all?
To be honest with you, Owen's better than me and my dad put together. If he would put his mind into it, he's got all the talent in the world. But he's Owen's a businessman. He shoots for the business aspect, the social aspect. He doesn't quite take it as seriously as we do. But if he did, he would beat us all.
I remember back then he barely reach over the shooting, the platforms you get in, the bar right there. And I was thinking, man, this kid can shoot. So that's cool to hear that for sure. So what all have you won? I know you've won a lot up to this point. What's some of your accomplishments?
When I was a sub junior, I won just about everything I could win. And then coming up as a sub junior, when I was about 14, and this is when I started taking the PSCA seriously and wanted to do that, I started realizing that I had, I was putting up scores in the master class. I was in master class, I think, by 14. And I think I punched in the master class when I was 14. And started, I think I won the Oklahoma State 5-stand at 14 years old. And which was a big shoot at the time because we had a PSCA event here. So it wasn't like just a normal Oklahoma State. There was, obviously all the best in the world are here at the Oklahoma State shoot. And I ended up winning the 5-stand. And that's when I honestly kind of quit looking at my wins and started chasing overall wins. And so I haven't won any majors, but I placed third last year in 2021 I placed third overall at the Southeast Regional. I won Master first at the Western Regional. But after the PSCA, I quit shooting sporting clays. Up until this point, actually, I haven't really taken it seriously.
Wow.
I started shooting helice, and as much as I love sporting clays, it's not worth the money. I went to the regional, the 2021 Southeast Regional, placed third overall. When I got home, I played all my options and everything. All said and done, I made $116. It's had I not done that, think about the 500 other people that went home with zero. That's a fun $4,000 weekend.
Yeah. So you're shooting helice. Is the money better in helice?
I went to the Lone Star Open yesterday. Actually, I was at the Dallas Gun Club for the Lone Star Open helice shoot. It was really the first helice shoot of the season. I wasn't able to be there all 3 days. I actually only shot the Sunday rotation, shot 30 straight, and I net a little over 7,000 in one day.
Wow.
And that's not including what I made buyers. Had I bought myself in the Calcutta, it would have been a little over 14,000, so almost 15 grand in a day. Kind of hard to beat.
Yeah. So how perfect do you have to be to shoot helice and win money like that?
You got to be perfect. There is one problem that we're running into in helice is that they went away from the slide.
All right, you want to explain that?
Slide meaning, so you shoot at 29 yards,
okay,
and currently you stay there the whole time. In box birds, traditionally, you would, every 5 you run, you slide back a yard. So by the end of, your 30 birds, when you get to your sixth ring, you're, 6 yards farther back than you were when you started. So the better you do, the harder it is. It's kind of like a handicap system,
right,
if you will.
Yeah.
And one of the problems that we kind of run into is you don't have that handicap, right? So you're always up front, and I think that has kind of made the game a little easier. And but I think the slide's going to come back. A lot of people realize that the slide is necessary to even out the field. But yeah, it takes a 30 almost any day to win. You got to be perfect all the time.
So I'm sure you're not the only perfect one there that day. How many people shoot straight like that?
I tied with one other kid. So 230s, there was probably 8 29s and maybe 10 plus 28s. So
okay,
it takes a good score to come out on top in helice.
So when did you start shooting helice exactly?
I've shot helice a lot over the years. We used to have helice way back when at Elm Fork, before it was popular. So I've always shot helice, but I didn't take helice seriously until probably 2021. So right after I finished that season, I went to quite a few of the regionals in 2021. I was going to try to get back into it fully and be competitive, and on little to no practice, I think I did pretty well. But by the end of the season, I realized how much money I had spent and how much money I hadn't won, even with how good I had been shooting, or relatively decent enough to get some return, and it just wasn't cutting it for me. So I went to a helice shoot, a small one, 50 people. I mean, we're talking one rotation at a sporting clay shoot worth of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I ended up, I won a couple $1,000s, and I was like, I'm not shooting sporting clays anymore. Like, it's not even worth it. So 2021 was when I started.
How does 50 people pay out? I mean, I've got an idea, but I just want to hear what you have to say. How does 50 people pay out to win money like that?
Yeah, so it's Calcutta's is what brings in the money.
Okay.
But the options are better, right? So the options actually pay back. Whereas the NSCA, you play a $10 option, well, and mandatory options. There a lot of helice shoots require you to play options. So if you want to shoot, you have to play the options, which means that everybody is entered.
Right.
And so you're going to obviously get more money that way. Whereas in sporting clays, if you have 200 people in master class, well, 150 of those people know they can't win. So why the heck would they pay the option money? So in reality, you're shooting against 50 people for the option money.
What's the option money like at the shoot you were talking about for helice?
So in helice too, it also breaks down a lot better. So for example, on the 30 I shot, I won money on the 310s, so it's broken into 310s, the 215s, the 30 overall, and then you have the long run from the back and the long run from the front, right? So whoever runs the most straight from their first bird wins that pot, and whoever runs the most straight from the back, right? So if I miss my first bird out and run 29, as long as nobody shoots a 20 or shoots a 30, I'm gonna win the long run from the back, right? And that's money. If I shoot my first 10 straight and nobody else does, there's money there. Your middle 10, your back 10, and then 15s, right? So it's broken up into two cranks of 15. You shoot 15 and then 15 again. So the money's really, really kind of scattered all over the place, and if you really shoot well, you can collect it all. I like to compare it to horse racing. Actually, especially the way that the Calcuttas work, because in the Calcuttas, you're bidding on shooters. You're betting on who you think the best guy is that weekend, and that's where the real money comes from. It's kind of like an auction for horses, rather than you going up to the cashier and betting on the individual horse. It's an auction. So whoever bids on, say you come in and you really want to buy me, and you buy me first off the board, you own me. Nobody else can bet on me. So you actually can win money off of me which is great, because it brings in people who don't think that they necessarily can win, but they think you have a pretty good chance, and so they bet some money on you, and you actually can win them some money, right? So
Yep.
you don't even have to shoot to win money at a helice shoot.
Interesting. And I'm hearing a lot more about helice. And I don't know if it's because Cherokee Rose right up the street from me has a helice ring, but you hear a lot more about it.
Yeah, it is starting to grow. I've been pushing it a lot, especially on new shooters, because you're just wasting your time. If pickle dishes is what you want, have fun, at the NSCA. But if you're here to, make something of it, and I've made a pretty decent living off of it in the past 2 years, and you can't do that in sporting clays anymore unless you're signing contracts. You're not making a living doing it.
Yeah. So, all right. So that brings up a good topic. So your thoughts as a young guy on the NSCA? Do you feel they're doing what they need to be doing to grow and retain today's youth, or any shooters, or do you think they could do better? And I think I know your answer.
I don't think they are. I think they're milking it for what it is. I hate to see it because sporting clays is my passion. I love sporting clays, and if you could win the money that you can at a police shoot, at a sporting clay shoot, I'd be there every weekend. But you can't, and it all kind of comes back to the management. They're not giving back. They're not giving back what they should. Like we were talking about the option money. You pay a $10 option, but you're only getting a percentage of it, or you pay your entry fee. You're paying, like for example, I think it's like $110 or something to like shoot the K Cup at Nationals. Mm-hmm. Well, where's all that money going? Because it's only paying out like $500. Well, if 500 people are putting in, $110 to shoot the K Cup, where's all that money going? It's obviously not going back to the shooters. So I think they're just milking it for what they can get out of it.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I get it. A lot of people think the same thing. I don't know what the expenses are in putting on a shoot, but I understand where you're coming from because I hear it a lot.
Yeah, my dad's podcast, as you know, is a great place to go and get the real information. I'm the same way. I'm not good about the numbers, but I know that what's going on isn't right. It's why I can't find the motivation to go to a shoot, because I'm tired of donating. So
last year, I know you were on the Super Squad at Nationals. Are you going to go back this year? You're not going to Nationals? What's the deal?
I'm going to go to Nationals. We go to Nationals every year.
Yeah, you guys a family, right? All of you?
Yeah, because we still love it. It's our game. It's what we know.
Yeah.
Obviously, my dad was the best to ever do it for 30 years. So even for him, he goes every year just because he loves to be there. He's never missed a Nationals ever. And so Nationals is definitely one we go to. We went to Texas State a couple weeks ago. I'm going to shoot the Texas State FTASC here in a couple weeks. So I still enjoy it, and I wish that I could find the motivation to keep doing it. And if the PSCA ever comes back or something of that caliber, then I'm all on board. But the Super Squad just ain't it.
What did you think about it? I mean, I asked everybody that was on the Super Squad what they thought about it. Did you like it better than just a regular rotation?
I did. I did enjoy it. It brought a little bit of that prestige back. It kind of made me feel like there was some element to the PSCA, but at the same time, a lot of people don't know this. That's not the first time they've done the Super Squad.
Right.
In '96, they did the Super Squad, and it obviously didn't work, or they would have kept doing it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a quick attempt at bringing that pro status back in. Right. It's not. Now, there is other elements to it that I do really like, which is, we do have an integrity issue in this sport, and which anybody who knows my dad knows that's all we're about. That is a big issue that is it's even still an issue. At the high level, it is good to help eliminate that. The weather issue is always an issue. It's not something we're ever going to get rid of. For those of us who went to Texas State, we experienced that yet again. There's a reason that we designed a main event course so that things like that don't happen. As a high level shooter, it was awesome. It was great to have all of the best guys on one rotation. It was nice to know that the guy to your left and to your right are just as capable as anybody at hitting this pair. It's really hard, and I don't mean this offensively, but when you get squatted with a couple people that don't quite know what's going on or aren't the best shooters, it's really hard to stay positive and focus and be on top of your game, because unless you like looking at a lot of show pairs, it's tough to stay focused. It really is beneficial to shoot with people that are of the same caliber and that you can watch and you can learn from. I had the privilege to shoot with Corey Cruz and Wendell Cherry, and I love both of them. They're great people. It was the funnest main event I've ever shot, I would probably say, because they respected me as much as I respect them, and that's respect is something that I've had a hard time finding in sporting clays.
So, the part of the super squad, because I didn't shoot on it, I had to talk about it the whole time. But the part that I liked was the amount of people that came out to watch. Now I think there was too many carts and et cetera, but it was kind of cool. It's like you said with the PSCA, you'd be in that stadium and there'd be people sitting up in the stands watching. It was kind of like that down the road. Everybody was kind of following the groups around watching them, and I thought that was the cool part about it.
Yeah, I did think that was cool too. If I wasn't the top guy. I actually didn't shoot very good at nationals, but I couldn't expect much. I was there I didn't even know I was on a super squad until I showed up. As somebody who didn't perform as well as I could have, it kind of made me not feel so good to watch everybody going to the other side of the course. But at the same time, it's awesome that people are actually taking the time to come out and watch. That's what we need if we want to grow the sport. Is we need spectators. We need people to want to be there. And I did think that was cool. It doesn't bother me because I walk anyways. I do everything I can not to ride in the golf cart. I enjoy walking the courses. Kind of that break in between really helps kind of settle your mind. Think about what you did on the last station, good or bad, and then move on from it. That's always been a really good step in my process. So it didn't bother me. The carts don't bother me, but I can see how it could have bothered other people.
What is something that your dad has told you as far as shooting is concerned, whether it be mental or whether it be, what we're just talking about? What is one thing he's told you that stands out?
Believing I'm good enough. That like I said, going back to the respect thing, that's and it all kind of blends together with a couple of other questions that you asked earlier. Being Scott Robertson's son, it is tough. Finding the respect is the respect as a world-class shooter. All these people are world-class shooters. My dad, Corey Cruz, Wendell Cherry, Gavin Miles, Zach Kinebaum, all of these guys are the best in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so believing that I'm good enough is been one of my biggest struggles. And through helice and flyer shooting, that is something I've overcome. And it's also, I think, going to shooting helice and that has been great for me because it's allowed me to find that confidence in myself. And like I said, the respect, I can't find it at a sporting clay shoot. Because I haven't been around and because I haven't won a major, they still look at me as, oh, that's Scott's kid.
Right.
I don't want to just be Scott's kid. And I think I've found the respect elsewhere. And that's given me the confidence to know that if I go to a sporting clay shoot, I can run with those guys because I've beat them all before. I can do it over and over again, and so having that confidence and just believing that I can has probably been what he's helped me out with the most. I think it's what got me so good at a young age, because I believe that if I had never gone away from sporting clays, I would be one of the best in the world. I was on track to do that. But I think that having him around has been really good for me, because when I was a sub junior, he used to tell me, "Oh, well, if you can beat me today, then you'll win. If you beat me this weekend, you'll win. If and I'm 14, 15 years old, and talking to the best to ever do it, and he's telling me, "Oh, you can beat me. If you beat me today, you can do it." We'll be going in the last 2 stations, and I'm not even paying attention to the fact that I've got him by 2 birds, or I'm tied with him. And by the end of the rotation, or the end of the weekend, it turns out that I'm right there with him. I'm maybe a couple birds down most of the time, because, like I said, he's one of the best. But that, I think, was probably the best thing for me. That confidence, knowing that I have the best tool in my back pocket, and he's standing right there next to me, motivating me, pushing me. And that's probably, it's nothing he's really done, but more things he said, and just his presence.
So what's your next Sporting Clays tournament?
Probably the Texas State FITASC. I'm going to do that here. It's in Dallas here in a couple weeks.
So that's interesting. That helice is interesting, man. A lot of people say, "Hey, you need to try." I've never even shot helice. I've seen it.
You got to try it,
and I've watched it.
You got to try it. It's a lot of fun. It's a easy game, I guess you could say, to get good at. Meaning, you can average around 25, 26, and 25, 26 on most days is respectable. But if you want to win HOAs and be on top all the time, it's going to take a 28 or better.
Yeah.
Some days a 28 will win. Some days maybe a 27 will win. But if you're going to be at the top, it takes perfection, and 29s, 30s. Like last year at the Police Nationals, I shot 29, 29, 26, and ended up losing first place by 2 birds.
He's close, wasn't
I missed 6 all weekend, and still lost by 2 birds.
So how long does it take you to shoot? What do they call that? A 30 race?
Yeah, 30 bird race. Yeah.
All right. So how long does it take to shoot a 30 bird race?
Well, a lot of elements go into it. It depends on your venue. It depends on how they're laying it out. Traditionally, it's going to be 15 and then 15. So you'll shoot 3 rings of 5 in order, right? So they'll pick a random number, or cut the field in half, and they'll say, all right, if there's 100 shooters, we're going to start on 50 today. So 50 is the first shooter, right? And so you're going to shoot 15 straight through all 100 shooters, and then start the rotation over. So it takes just about all day. You're doing a lot of sitting around, to be honest with you. If you're in school or you got work to do, it's a great game for you, because you don't shoot as long, and you have the whole day to sit and watch people shoot and get some work done, or read a book, or relax. I think that's why I enjoy it as much as I really do, is because it's not all day. You're not shooting 1,000 targets over 4 days, or some crazy amount of shooting. It's very laid back. The people are great. The people that shoot helice, you're not going to find better group of people. Everybody's nice. Everybody's rooting for you. It's just a better atmosphere, better vibe. It's a good time.
Where do you go to find helice tournaments? Like, I know where to go find sporting clay shoots. Where do you go to find helice shoots?
I think if you go onto ushahelice.com, I believe that's the website. If you just search USHA Helice, it'll pull up, and you'll be able to find the full list of tournaments for the year.
Then you register online just like you do with anything else?
I believe so. A lot of them are you call the club, right? So like Dallas Gun Club, if you go on to the website and you find a date that you want to come out and enter a shoot, you just call Dallas Gun Club. The people at Dallas are great. Colette, she'll hook you up. She'll get you on the list. You'll get in, and it's pretty easy.
All right, so you got some good people behind you, sponsors. Talk about them for just a second.
Well, I actually just recently signed on with the RC Pro staff and John Calandro and Clay Shooter Supply. They're doing great for me. I love Able Ammo to death. They were good to me forever. Me and Randy, we loved to ride dirt bikes, but RC and John, they're just kind of more towards what I want to do. I'm not a sporting clay shooter anymore.
Right.
And nobody wants to support me because I'm not, right. Like I guess helice, you could say, isn't really respected as a clay target sport yet, even though they're plastic. But sponsors don't really look at helice as qualifying for a sponsorship. So sponsorships are hard to come by in helice, and John and Clay Shooter Supply, they're really supporting me. I'm on actually a helice only deal, so I'm not required to shoot any sporting clays, which is great. If I want to, I can, and they're going to support that. But helice is number one. Nice. And then Rad Rides Customs out of Dallas, Justin Wright, he's a big supporter of me in flyer shooting. He's always there for me, always buying me in Calcuttas, so he's a big supporter. And then obviously Elm Fork and Side by Side Ranch. I'm here at the ranch now, and that's pretty much my dad. My dad always has my back. It's where I practice. It's where I train. So great people behind me.
So do you stay at that big old place by yourself?
No, I'm over here in the guide house. I'm in the bunk room, but yeah, I'm here all the time.
That's a cool place. I can remember the last time. When was the last time? I guess I'm trying to remember. I think he had.
I guess it would have been the South Central Regional for the last PSCA.
It was about
2017.
800 degrees.
Yeah. It's still that right now. It's like 7 o'clock at night here. Sun's going down. I'm sweating.
Yeah. I remember going out there. That's a cool place. Listen, Clay, I know you got things to do. I appreciate you coming on with me. It's really interesting talking to you. I didn't know you had this much going on. Maybe we can get some people over there to your shooting team and spice that up a little bit. And good luck in all your helice shooting, and probably see you at Nationals.
For sure. I appreciate you having us. Yeah. Looking forward to having you at a helice shoot too.
All right, buddy.
Thanks for listening. For more episodes, go to our website, shotgunsportsusa.com. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook.